everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the TGC podcast. And today is a very special episode as we have two beautiful guests here are going to talk about Women's History Month. But before we get into that, we're going to get into our weekly check-in, and I'll start us off. So this week has been kind of rough for me. My father has come down with a little illness, and he's in the hospital, so I'm continuing with that. But, life moves on. He's a Marine. He's doing great. He'll be home tomorrow, thank God. And unfortunately, due to the coronavirus epidemic, my job is closed as well as all other schools in the city of Newark. So I get to just sit back, relax, and enjoy collecting my salary for the next 2 weeks, while other people have different type of struggles.
I don't want to hear that, man.
So, Brian, how's your work week? Bro, you was out last week, so tell us a little bit about what you've been into this week.
This week it's just been basically just printing clothes and getting ready for tomorrow. Pretty much, I'm back to work, so I had this weekend off. It was just a chill weekend. I didn't do too much. That was about it. Just chill and get ready for work, man.
Yeah, man. What's up? This your man QG. My work was my week was a little bit disappointing due to this whole coronavirus scare. Everybody so worried and panicked about it. I was supposed to start a new job tomorrow, but the orientation got held off because of this, of what's going on. Kids out of school for the next couple weeks till they figure out what's going on. So the week been just kind of revolved around what's going on in current events, which is the coronavirus.
Seriously, like my week been milk as usual. Seriously, milk as usual. But this coronavirus, it adds like a whole different scare to the job, because I'm dealing with so many different people throughout the day. Like, I don't even want to get out the truck. But those gotta be paid.
Wait, man. Week been cool. Don't be worried about this corona shit. And everybody get to spend time with your fucking kids for a month. Good luck.
I see, Trey. What's going on, y'all? My week has been pleasant. Me too. I also got another side income coming in, so I'm excited about that. Corona, we still trying to figure it out, but we not letting it stop nothing. And all in all, everything is good. Improving, trying to get better every day. So everything is great.
So before we get into anything, make sure you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to all of our platforms. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, as well as Podbean. And make sure you contribute to our Patreon. We're trying to do big and better things, and we need your love and support to do so. And also, if your kids are in need of any food services, the City of Newark has multiple locations where they're giving out breakfast and lunch for students of Newark. So make sure you go to our IG. We're going to have all the information posted there. So without further ado, let's get right into the show. And ladies, would you like to introduce yourself, starting with you?
Hi, everybody. My name is Qadriyyah Marie. I just appreciate you guys inviting me out, to talk today about Women's History Month. And as far as the coronavirus, I'm trying to keep my cool. It's hard though, because I didn't realize the impact of such disease hitting us. Even it has me checking myself, like, why am I not prepared? Like I said, I'm feeling blessed. Basically, it's a brief synopsis about myself. I have a media production company called On the Q Productions. I'm trying to focus primarily on health and wellness. I think that's more important, for us within the urban community, especially here in Newark, New Jersey area. So we're making a lot of, positive changes. So I'm just glad to be a part of it.
That's great.
Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Sister Dawn Haynes. I am the Vice President of Newark Board of Education, and I am the new manager of the Brick City Peace Collective, which is a collective of organizations really honing in on the violence and stuff that's going on in our community, the trauma that's affecting us, and the wellness that's supposed to come along with it. So if you can imagine, all of those hats mean I have to be around people all the time. So this corona thing is really it's slowing some stuff down, but it's not going to stop anything, because if we don't know how to do nothing else as Black people, we know how to be resilient.
That is 100% right. And we have one more guest in the room, a very special gentleman who is the cousin of our guy, Inardi Nafis. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Marrow. From an entrepreneur standpoint, I have a digital political magazine online. It's called The Council Magazine. That focus on politics, social issues, and news from a city standpoint and throughout the world in America. and I'm just here to show these brothers support. I'm definitely a big fan of entrepreneurship and brotherhood, sisterhood, and just the whole progressive movement for our people in the city of Newark. So that'll be all.
So today we want to celebrate our Women's History Month, and here's a little background on it. So Women's History Month is an annual declared month that highlights the contributions of women and events in history and society. It is celebrated during the month of March in the United States and the United Kingdom, Australia, which also corresponds with International Women's Month on March 8th. So we all have to acknowledge that women are very great in this country. They're the backbone of life. They're the arbiters of life. And they have been making strong strides towards positivity and becoming business women and fighting for their rights. And I think that is an amazing thing to see how far women have come and how they have taken control of like business and different situations that have occurred.
I see it right, because I don't want to get too far into my feelings and emotions, because I do believe that as women, our role is so significant that 1 month shouldn't just be what should capture it. The same way I feel about Black History Month. It kind of makes our struggle minute, right? Because in the retrospect of what we're dealing with, we shouldn't still be fighting for equal pay. We still shouldn't be fighting for a voice in society, right? Like. And on another note, I think that they put Women's History Month in place to add another divide on what we're dealing with as African Americans, right? Like, my success shouldn't be on the depletion of yours, right? Like it. So yeah, that's me.
That was good. What is the significance of Women's History Month? Yes.
I agree with this young lady here. It shouldn't be just 1 month of the year, and I actually think that's something that we have to work on as a nation, as a worldwide issue. Back in the 80s, we only had 1 week,
right?
So we made a big stride making it to a month. But what are we going to do now to make it an everyday occurrence for us?
Right.
I don't think it should be 1 month. It needs to be something that we're talking about every day, and I think we are starting to do that.
And I 100% agree. We had that conversation about Black History Month a couple episodes back, how we are only celebrating as 1 month. So the question I posed to my team here was, what can you do as a woman to make sure that is celebrated? It goes beyond this month. How can you contribute to that?
Well, I think we are starting to do that. We're seeing a lot of women, empowerment movements. Obviously, you guys all know about the Me Too movement. How big that is.
Yes.
It's it's bringing forth a lot of issues as far as sexual harassment, date rape, and it's not just for women. I think this is something that men themselves need to talk about as well. It's not just all about us. Things happen within both sexes.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see women now are starting to come together. And we're also realizing that we need men as well. Sometimes, I don't want to go off tangent too much.
Go.
As far as like what they call the independent woman syndrome. A lot of times with Black women, we're looked down upon the fact that we want to empower each other, we want to support each other, and the fact that we can take care of each other. But I think we need to realize that it's not necessarily a negative thing. We were just talking outside about how we need men to be around to protect us. We're feeling a lack of that sometimes as women, and that pushes us to want to say, we're a strong, independent woman. We don't need a man and such, which I don't believe is true. I think we just need to learn how to be united. So Women's History Month is not just for women. It's something that we all need to be talking about.
Absolutely, I agree.
You asked, what do I feel we can do?
Yeah.
I think that all women should be associated with some type of women organization. Right, so I'm a part of the International Black Women's Congress, and these are some really profound Black women that do amazing work. Rites of passage groups, we have to start doing this knowledge of self thing where we're teaching our girls at a young age, like right now we have this wave with waist beads. We need to teach our girls the significance of these waist beads, the historical context of these waist beads, and what it means to actually have that as your femininity and your modesty, to where everybody not supposed to see it. That's something that's supposed to be, a connection for you and your significant other. So when we're starting to get these cultural things that we had no idea even existed because of our long 400-year struggle. Now it's time for us to start teaching the context of it for the next generation, so we can build women that can support men.
Yes.
Right.
As once y'all decide that y'all gonna be the leaders again.
Very well said. Very well said.
Well, one of the things I wanted to pinpoint was I know that we specify roles in terms of, you know, the patriarch's role and the matriarch's role in the household. And I wanted to kind of go along the lines of that and kind of get what your insight was. Like, what do you think the role of the man, the black man in the household is, and what do you think the role of the black female is within the household? And how do they both help each other to, you know, stay stable and to be able to grow as a unit more along the lines?
You got more experience with
That's an
that.
excellent question. I think ideally, right? Somebody has to be the provider. Somebody has to be protector. Somebody has to be maintainer.
Mhm.
That should be one role for one specific person, which is the man. His job is to provide, protect, maintain. That may look different in different households, right? As we know, society has made it really almost impossible for a black man, worst case scenario, to have a record to do anything other than be the bottom feeder, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
Now, I know for my household, this brother know my husband. He works, his job is to provide, protect, and maintain. My job is to accompany and assist with anything. My job is to nurture. My job is to provide a balance, right? He come in the house from all the stuff he had to do. I don't care if I make more money than him. You still got a role to play. I'm gonna be the reason why we able to go to Africa. And I'm okay with it, right? Like it has to be a balance in our world. Do that mean that my only job is to cook, clean, and all that? No, that's not. Because you didn't marry a maid, right? We have people that white women stole us to help with household chores that they had to breastfeed their kids. So this superwoman, black woman ideology that we have, we don't have to take on all of that. If you can afford it, have an auntie come and help you clean up your house, because it's that all that responsibility shouldn't fall on you if in fact we're talking about a balanced household. And I think when we start talking about even the amount of respect we have for the people that are in our families, like grandmothers, great grandmothers, aunties, sisters, and our village have to be so tight that we're helping raise each other's children, right? Because that is a whole nother responsibility. This whole Corona thing, it really put us in a different perspective of mothering, of people actually having to take the time to teach their children, prepare food for their children, actually provide a space of wellness. And I think we're missing that. And a woman's job should be to have that in her home, no matter what that look like. Wellness in my home, it looks like my husband coming home. I might have cooked dinner, or y'all might be making something yourselves. My daughter's job is for me to teach them this is what you're supposed to do. Dinner should be started or done by 6:30 so that y'all can eat, be in the bed by a certain time. Schedules make sense. By the time he come in the house, the least I could do is not have these kids running around with their heads standing on top of their head and screaming, right? Especially if he's providing, protecting, and maintaining his home.
That's well said.
I think that is a great answer. That was an amazing answer. I feel like you give the insight that there doesn't have to be a struggle of power dynamics. And I feel like that in the black home, that is a problem between the black man and the black woman, that one feels they should be more dominant than the other, or one should fulfill a role despite all means. And sometimes that line gets convoluted. Whereas the man is trying to do more than he feels he should, or the woman is trying to do more than she feels she should. So it's great to hear from your perspective that there needs to be that balance. There needs to be roles, and I think a lot of people need to understand that. So I really appreciate you for bringing that insight. I'm kind of being blown away by that. That was great.
That coincides exactly to what we was talking about in the other episode too. Going along with that, I had wanted to ask a question that pertains to what we were just talking about. Most women work. What are some of the difficulties of balancing being a nurturer, a significant other, and a working woman at the same time?
I can definitely talk about it, because as far as being a working woman, I'm a single woman now. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just trying to help us out. But I have to always try to find that balance. Sometimes, as an entrepreneur, I'm always sometimes focused just on work. And I myself have to learn how, you were just saying, balancing, even if I was to meet somebody, how would I clarify, those different roles? Nurturing, I think all women, I think we all have that nurturing spirit. At least we should, have that in us.
Life ain't beat
And we do need, especially now as far as Black men, we do need out in the house. We need to know we have each other's support, and not make, like you were saying earlier, make it like the man has all the financial responsibilities. And as Dawn was saying, that we're all taking domestic responsibilities. We have to learn how to balance that between each other. And I think having discussions like this is helping. I think it's all about, communication. A lot of times you can't just live in the house with somebody. You actually have to talk to them.
It's key.
Talk to each other. And it's like you were saying, the coronavirus, now we're forced to actually be in the house and look at each other every day like, damn,
like him like this.
Now you're like, damn, I gotta talk to this nigga now.
The children too, because
the kids too. You gotta put them
they
in
home the whole day. I work overnight, so when I come home in the morning, I'm kicking everybody out. Like, okay, yo, you go to school. My girlfriend, she's going to work, so I get the house to myself. I'm about to get some sleep. But now it's about to change. I'm gonna come home from work, everybody home, like, hey, daddy, you know what I'm saying? So, so I'm gonna have to try to find my spots to sleep. But like you said, it's affecting everybody. It's making us have to deal with each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna be a good thing in most cases.
I think so.
I think so.
I think it's going to give us a chance to appreciate one another.
Yes.
Right? I think we take so much for granted because we rush. Everything is a rush.
Everything's so microwave right now.
Schedule, yes.
Right, everything. And it's like, when do we actually have wind down time to just appreciate being in each other's company? Right? Like, one of the things that I would advise anybody is learn your love language and learn your significant other's love language. Because if I'm an affectionate person, right, like me, I am, right? Like, my husband know when I'm pissed off with him, right? Because it take a lot for me, the whole holistic woman that I am, to get to a point of pissed offness. But he'll know it because I'm not oiling your beard, bald head, none of that. You got cereal milk 2 nights in a row. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't cutting no toenails. We ain't doing none of that. But like, because I'm a that's one of the love languages, right? Like, I'm a person who does. I show my love. And when we don't take the time to appreciate one another's love languages, we take them for granted. So now where we're going to be put in a place, even to learn your children's love language, like, children are naturally clingy when they feel love, right? Like, to be a nurturer and to find that balance, like, I'd be dead tired coming in from work, right? I'll give myself a good 10 minutes in my car, let everything from work go, because I realize I have to come in the house and still be supermom, right? Like, I still have to yell and make sure that the garbage is pulled to the front, or recycling is done, or the girls is doing this. Like, it truly is something that you have to find a balance with, and a support system, right? Like, I don't care what it is. Corona ain't stopping me from going to my women's week meeting on Wednesday. My son is social service women's meeting. And I don't care if I gotta walk them blocks to get to that meeting, because we need that, right? Women deal with things a lot differently. Men, y'all, I don't care to figure it out. However, with women, we need to talk. We need to socialize. We need to express our feelings. All you gotta do is listen, shake your head, rub a foot while you doing that.
Coming with the gym.
Well, I think men now, I think men have to express their feelings too now. I think that's part of the issue.
We admit that. We
know how it is as women. We're always expressing our feelings.
When it comes to
cry, Black men can cry.
Black men can cry.
But understand this. Come on.
Yo, burnt out.
My grandfather was.
That's a different kind of cry.
The word. That's
a different kind of cry.
Yo.
Carl Thomas won the generation.
We need Carl Thomas to come back.
Oh my God.
Y'all let Chris Brown gang bang. He was doing the government gun and all that. Gang bang and all that. He was trying that first, and then he said, you know what, they want this, I'm a gang bang.
That was amazing.
It's just a little ratchet now.
So as far as that was great relationship talk, but I kind of want to shift the conversation to your profession, right? And especially you because you work in education as I do. So as you know, what may or may not know, me and Hase are both educators, and we're very big on education, especially in the Black urban environment. So I would just want to know a little bit on your philosophy on the power of Black figures in a position of education and power.
That's a very
easy.
good
That's
You about to knock that out tomorrow.
Okay, so the politically correct answer that I want is we have a very diverse community and we need different people to address different issues for our children. However, the role of the Black man inside of our schools dealing with our students is so needed. If we had a way to clone you two and get y'all inside of Newark Public Schools, I don't know what district y'all work for. The problem is, as my good brother here was saying, we have boys being raised by women. There's an absence of fathers, uncles, positive influences. And then for them to get to school and the only influence is somebody that's telling them the direct contradiction of what they should be doing as a Black man, there's a problem.
Right.
And we seeing this, oh, she have no classroom management because she can't relate to these children.
Right.
A, she don't look like us, she's not from our community, nor do she have the drive to resonate the Black man issue. Or the Black girl issue for that matter. So when it comes to my opinion as a board member, and I'm over the personnel committee, I need to know how many, or what is your tactic or your strategy for hiring men of color in our schools?
Right.
Specifically, principal positions, teacher positions, although yes, we need security guards and cafeteria workers. No, I need us to do a conscious effort to have influential Black men. And don't get me wrong, because I'll tell a custodial worker in a heartbeat, the same influence that the teacher have over our students, you have, because that's a conversation that, and let's not get it twisted. I had managers of custodial inside of NPS, they making 6 figures. So we're not gonna get stuff twisted, right? Like professional wise, we can do things that may look like it's not that, because in society say, oh, you have to have this many degrees in order to be successful. However, trade jobs,
They'll get you there.
they gonna get you there. They gonna get you there. Yeah, they gonna get you there in a whole nother fight. But I digress. Yes, I believe that the role of men, period, specifically Black men inside of our schools is needed, is necessary. Honestly. And I would like them to have, professional development that's not in the book context, right? Right, like we have the professional development that's geared towards the Caucasian white woman teacher thoughts, right? No, I need us to dig deeper and reach even our girls. We just had Dr. Monique Morse, is that her last name? She pushed out the criminalization of Black girls. Phenomenal. When I tell you, I met her in Miami, and she did a screening of her movie, of her film, based on her book. And the dialogue that happened with her, just specifically on Black girls, we can't focus on our girls and forget our boys, just like we can't focus on our boys and forget our girls. So like in a holistic approach, fixing our community, it looks like having Black men work on Black men and Black women work on Black women. Yeah. Right? Because I'm big on the mayor's men's meetings, right?
Oh, yes.
No, Black women stay out of the mayor's men's meetings. Let them have that space. Let them have that energy that men need to build and concrete each other up. Like, let them build a foundation.
They don't want that. They want to dominate everything we do everywhere we go. Why do women work security jobs?
I'm not going to be on the unpopular side of this
conversation. You take, like, so 80% of y'all in the workforce now with your hair done and your nails done. Your hair done, nails done, everything did, right? So you're at the desk and all that, playing the security guard role, but the shit pop off. You're not going to bust a move. It's a big ass man at home that need a job. Who should be doing that job? Exactly. So they don't want to be at home being wise. Let's just be honest. They don't want to do it. They're like, that shit sucks. I don't want to do that.
Wait a minute.
I want to be in control. I need the control. I have to have control because everything I've ever been taught is about control. When I was watching Hillary, she had control. She wanted control. When I watched Jasmine Guy on Different World, she wanted control. She needed control. When I watched Living Single, they wanted control, needed control. So what do they know? I need control. How would Gina control Martin? She will manipulate. So let's just be honest about the position. When you saw fancy finesse Jamie, we could just keep going down the list. They don't want that role. Just say you don't want the role. All this is it's never going to be how it used to be. All this is going to be a small section of people that's going to keep it the old way, just like everything else. Around the world is failing too. All the old traditions is failing too. It ain't just us over here. All this shit is falling down upon us. The corona is not just hitting us; it's hitting their ass too. So the same problems, the disconnect with the father. You think we the only ones with father problems? The Puerto Ricans don't have them and all. Everybody got those shit. This is why the man has fallen from grace. It ain't just us. But they make it seem like we're the worst and this and that. But it's a whole bunch of great black men they never want to bring up. Because if they bring them up, that's less clout for you. And we all know you all clout chasers. You desperate for clout. You'll snap. You will kill your brother for clout. We watch you do it every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, every Saturday on TV shows over and over that you all support. So don't tell me you want to be down with us and all this stuff. You want this stuff because from the looks of it, it looks like it's all fake and fugazi and it's not real. In my opinion, this is Big Nut speaking, not for everybody.
Big Nut, I have a question for you. Why are we looking at TV as our space of inspiration, right?
Because
like I don't watch no
y'all.
reality TV. Don't you dare put me in a box. I am definitely not that.
Can I say something? You can almost tell the difference in women who watch reality shows
and who don't.
Right off the bat.
They don't watch reality
Right
shows.
off the
they, they live in reality.
I don't know.
They live in
I
reality.
don't know. I would debate that.
Brother Collis, you had a statement you want to make.
Yes. I guess we're on the subject of education, but I wanted to talk about education is one key component. But since we're talking about the youth and they're dealing with social media, they're caught up in materialism now.
Yeah.
That's one key component. It's all about materialism. Could I have this? Could I have that? What's the quickest way to get that? So to combat that, what I'm learning and understanding is finance. They need to learn, or along with other education, mathematics, English, literacy, they have to understand finance and equity and ownership. That is key in America. That's key in the world. Ownership, owning things. And other ethnicities, you know, they understand generational wealth better than a lot of our individuals do. And our parents, I don't know about yours, they taught us, go to school, get a degree, go to work. And it was passed down. It was passed down. Go to school, go to work, get a degree. And when you own something, you have more equity. You could pass that down. I can't pass a job down to my son.
That's a
And
fact.
I can pass that house down.
Yeah.
I can pass this half an acre of land down. So these are things that I feel like the youth, if they're caught up in materialism and they like money, they have to learn creative ways to bring in income. And they can learn that at a young age because I've experienced this. It doesn't matter how, let's say, a child is not listening or not paying attention. When you talk about money to them in American society, they listen. They want to understand, how can I obtain that? Because they understand that shine. Children can talk about, even when they come to school, Jordan's on, True Religion, everything on, but then you ask them, what's 9 divided by 3? They can't answer that. That hurts.
That's a fact.
That hurts me.
That's a
where they
fact.
can understand every trend. So that shows the media and society is controlling the household. That's it. So the finance component.
Right, they know all that.
Who's purchasing?
The parents.
Parents.
Okay, in the hood, most times who's that parent?
The mother.
One more time for me.
The mother.
The mother.
So financial literacy is something that has to be taught earlier. And if we look at it in a realistic way, financial literacy isn't taught to us.
No.
Right? Like we learn things like by trial and error.
Yep.
So we don't know to not invest in Louis Vuitton versus, like, I have a conversation with a kid in a heartbeat about, your sneakers cost how much? Do you know that sneaker was made for $2 an hour, like $2 a
Absolutely.
day for
Yep.
a kid in China? Right, like just to start awakening our children's thought processes, because at the end of the day, they don't know. We only going by what was generations, right? Like, let's not act like most of us in this room not 80s babies. I am, and I don't feel bad about being an 80s baby. The boosters made sure that I
Put
stayed
it out
fly because
there.
I was an urban princess. So I mean, it is what it is, right? Like we were taught, like even now, we know some of the most well dressed up junkies there is, right? Fresh. So like, let's not act like this is not a systematic thing that we're dealing with, right? Like this is generation. Like we have the opportunity now because so many of us are waking up to change the trajectory of the next generation, right? Like going inside of these schools and talking to these kids and seeing what's going on and hearing, like when I go inside of a school, I don't have to RSVP to go in school because I'm a board member, right? I have to let the principal know that I'm there. I don't want to talk to all these adults. No, the food that they serving me here, do you eat this food? No, you don't. Y'all, we got a problem. Y'all not feeding the kids the same thing y'all feeding me. So that means this is for sure. Like last year, we paused the contract for the food. Oh, y'all trying to say it's not the food, the source we getting the food from, it's the people that's cooking, and I need y'all to put more training in place for these people. And these are ultimately kids, parents that's working in these schools cooking. So that means not only are we giving them a different skill, we should be giving them a higher pay rate. Because if we're talking about changing our levels of Black people, I can't look down on a parent who kid is in the same class as mine, because I had to explain this to my daughter. I love everybody in the community because she goes, oh, mommy, you do so much. I love your friends, and I love your friends' friends, and I love your friends' friends' friends. Because at the end of the day, that could eventually be your boss. That could eventually be your husband. That can eventually be the kid that lived next door to us. That could be the kid that him knowing me and knowing that I love him could be the reason why he don't rob us.
Absolutely.
So if we don't give back to this next generation, specifically with teaching them about knowledge of self, specifically teaching them about financial literacy, and teaching them how to care for one another, like self-care is so underrated. Our kids are angry. We're angry. How do you expect a kid to identify with their feelings if we can't identify with our feelings? But like, it don't take much to make to make us trip ourselves with adults. So if you have a kid that's already been diagnosed with BD, behavioral issues, you already had a kid that's diagnosed with having ADHD, you really expect him to be able to sit still for a white woman to yell at him for a whole 6 hours throughout the day as a teacher? Like, let's be for real. We have to, yes, sir.
Sorry to cut you off because I wanted to stay on course of the topic. I know we pinpointed the whole perspective of like the Black man within the school aspect, but my thing too, I had a question in terms of, because I dealt with an issue at the school, and this is the reason why I'm particularly not in the school, because I had a very, very severe issue, and just in terms of just like to synthesize the issue and the question together, my question, let alone, is like, how do we best support the males that's in our schools, especially the ones that are in the positions that are looked at like behavior positions, because not a lot of Black males in the school system do have really teacher positions or CEO, like what is the position where they basically structure the school and they deal with the funding, the CFO, whatever I don't know.
Charter school network?
Yeah.
But I think one of my biggest things that I dealt with there was the support when you do get a Black male in there, because a lot of people do not support, or like, not to say a lot, but a lot of teachers don't know how to support the Black male and how he carries out his duties. It may be unconventional in terms of like the way he speaks to a kid, not to say he's cursing him out, but he may come a little bit aggressive to this kid, particularly because he know this kid responds better to the aggressive approach, or he may want to take a subtle approach with this kid because he knows that he may not respond to that. But I think more or less to kind of really direct it to that point of like how do we support our males in there, that's basically carrying out their jobs without, because a lot of the stuff, and I wanted to connect Jawan's point too, because a lot of women, the white teachers and some of the Black women in the building were basically trying to like curtail the way I was doing my job. But then eventually throughout my first year, within the 6 months, they saw that my way worked. So how do we best support these people in these positions, that that we want to be there. Like, we want them to be there. How do we support them, basically?
Make them feel wanted.
Yeah, without overstepping our boundaries and always stepping on their toes and rushing them and trying to curtail their way of doing things.
I think we just need to, like we were just discussing, to showing support, showing that we're united with each other. Like you were saying, you saw some Black women work on basically like you said, telling now on your side. I think that's important, not just in the school systems, but particularly the school systems. We have to learn how to actually like communicate again. Exactly. It always boils down to that. Just knowing that we have each other's back.
Exactly.
That's my perspective.
And the parents too, I'm sorry, but the parenting as well too, because I wanted to connect all the points because, you know, my personal issue was like, the reason why I'm not in the school is because I had an issue with one of the parents where I had a dialogue prior to, you know, about the kid struggling. And then a week later, me and the kid got into an issue and then it escalated from there. But when I spoke to the mom, it was it was more or less like a defensive about her kid rather than her taking heed to the information that could have prevented the bigger issue later on.
So I think that sometimes as Black women, we tend to put up a defense mechanism when it comes to our children. Because if you're telling me something is wrong with my kid, that means there's something wrong with me. And it may have nothing to do with you as an amazing teacher, as a heartfelt, reliable person inside of this child's world. However, charter school networks look different than Newark Public Schools, so I really can't speak to that. And
That's good to know.
I'll make sure I get you in front of some kids that need you.
I mean, I know your question, Hasi, was geared towards guests, but I kind of want to speak to that a little bit. Because my experience, you know, I work at Life, and the way that they make me feel valued in the classroom, even though I'm just a para, they make me feel like I'm the teacher. And that's because I work around Liz Dukes, who you've met, and Alicia, and the other ladies of my job. They let the kids know I'm just as important to the learning environment as they are. So when it comes to like giving instruction, they give me tasks, meaningful tasks, to make me feel like I'm a part of the classroom, so that the kids view me as an educator, not just a guy who's there to correct behaviors. And from the parenting standpoints, you have to make those connections with the parents. Absolutely. Especially when you know we work with kids like we work with special education kids that have behavioral problems, that have 504s and stuff like that. We have to reach out to these parents and be like, you build that relationship where you can tell them your kid is not having a good day. But if you're only reporting negative things, the minute you call them, they're already defensive. Yeah. So sometimes you got to give them, hey, such and such had a great day today. Yeah. They did this. They bust out their mat. They went to the gym. They had a great time today. As well as report the negative things. So that way when you get the phone call, they don't know what to expect, but they know that it's for the betterment of their child. So it's all about building a relationship with your staff, building a relationship with the parents, and understanding your role in the classroom.
Great response. I come from a teaching background too. I was an English instructor at Essex County College. So I was getting brothers and sisters when they were 18, 19, 20, leaving the high schools. Mm-hmm. So that's a different dynamic as well. And then I'm an African-American male, and they're looking at me like, okay. And like you say, it seems like the teaching arena is dominated by women. It definitely dominated by them. And I went through certain situations when I was working at the center where everybody was a different nationality at ECC. And then the students would come in, and the ones that were basically from Newark, they would vibe with me, they would understand. And I was like, bro, you need to work harder, you need to study more, or whatever the case may be. And then when I dealt with a student, let's say that came from Italy, you know, it was a different take. They could not connect. No. And they would feel like I was being overbearing, but it's like, this is your second language. You need to learn how to speak this and write this. It's going to be complex for you. And the connection wasn't there, but the teachers only looked at, okay, African-American male. And I felt some of the things that the brother was going through, that they were being biased toward me. Right. Or you want to have another review with me, another assessment. I was like, okay, no problem. But I can definitely relate to that in that environment of teaching as African-American male. It was on a collegiate level, but it was different.
Definitely micromanaging.
Oh yeah, of course.
Every second.
Yeah.
And not to get off topic, I actually had a question for the ladies here. What made y'all choose the career choices that you chose?
Well, as far as media, I do love to talk. I think all women, we love to talk sometimes just to hear ourselves most of the time. But as far as, like I said, media, I like to be able to give people a voice, such as what you guys are doing here with your podcast. People sometimes feel like they have something to say, but they don't know how to get it out. They don't have a
That
route.
was
They
us.
feel like nobody wants to listen to them. Like
Right.
you guys say, as far as Black teachers, you need somebody who's actually going to listen to you and can be concerned about your issues and take them serious. And the fact that you care about your students, people need to recognize that. I think y'all need validation too. As teachers, professors, scientists, we all need to know that what we're doing is important. And I feel the same for myself. I want to feel like I'm here helping the next person out. We were talking about earlier, whatever we know, we want to be able to pass that knowledge on to the next generation. And not just the youth. I feel like there's a lot of adults out here that's kind of lost. And sometimes when you feel like you're by yourself, you're alone, you're not alone. And we need to make that present, let people know that you're not the only person dealing with this issue, whether it's drugs going on, whatever's going on in your life. And that's what I'm trying to do basically in my field.
Honestly, I didn't choose this.
She's appointed.
God chose this for me. Like,
Okay.
in reality, God chose this for me. I'm a girl from Chadwick, and every step that God has led me in, not to be like religious, but every single step that was given to me, it came with the whispers of my ancestors and like the directions from my elders. So like every honestly,
I believe you. That.
Being on the school board, being like the mayor's assistant, like all of that, like everything just was guided by whatever level that you believe in. For me, is God, and every step. Like when the brother was talking about how do we get Black men more involved inside of the schools, well, we have a situation where now we don't have to ask for permission, right? Local control means the permission comes from policy writers. The board is the policy writers, right? Like if you tell me right now that Grumman, this organization right here, want to do mentoring, the Brick City Peace Collective that I'm now the manager over, we're looking for men mentors. I have a kid now, before I left, I thought I was going to be late for you guys. His mother called because he need whatever God got for him, coming from a positive influence Black man. His mother called. I was able to call another Black man. Yo, go to this address right now for me, and let's see what's going on. The kid got put out of school a couple of weeks ago. We got him back in school. He about to like back in his right classes. It's gonna take outside of the box work for our
We
community.
definitely want to get into that.
Definitely.
So about that. But before I get into that, I want to connect with you on the fact that you do this type of work, and we want to know a little bit more about the. And you talked about managing peace and violence and trauma, and I didn't really catch it fully. So could you just elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yes, sir. So the Brick City Peace Collective is a collective of organizations that do specific work for the trauma that's in our community. So we have a catchment area that we're working on now, so we can see maybe in a year we can expand it. That bring in every entity of wellness that we need, whether it is trauma informed, whether it's domestic violence, juveniles, assault, homicides, and then any way that you think of us fixing it, whether it's community outrage with rallies, letting the community know that this is not acceptable, this is not what we're dealing with, whether it is one example we had, which was outside of our catchment area, but gave us a really intense way of looking at it, was we had a situation with students that was going to escalate, right? We know we got gang members in our community.
Right.
However, an organized gang, what's the difference between that and the police department? However, I digress. They were getting ready to escalate. We was able to call in the Peace Collective to the school with the station house adjustment, because we work with the police department as well. Everybody is involved. our social workers are involved, doctors are involved, and community organizations. So like,
Put the smoke out. Yeah.
because we can't.
Everybody there.
We are our best solution.
Exactly. That's what we need more of.
We are our only
Like,
solution.
Everybody.
we depend on
Right.
other. We depend on outside people and other people too much. Like at some point, I mean, it comes a time where we gotta take accountability for ourselves.
And that's what it's about, accountability.
Brick City Peace Collective. I'm very upset with myself that I didn't dive into finding out about something like this. So I appreciate
No,
you
don't be
bringing
upset with
this
yourself
No.
because our first community meeting is being pushed back because of this corona. That's why when I
Yeah,
first came down, I
man.
said, Joe, like
Corona
this
messing
really
up the
stagnated.
wave, man.
And this is not like behind the desk typing stuff up type of work. No, this is you knocking on doors. You're finding out who the big homie is. You find out who the deacon is of this church, who the owner of this liquor store, and what are you doing to help our community? Can this space be a safe space for our students? Like it's so much that we can do within our own area. And because I'm in charge of it, I'm really on some get down and lay down type of thing. Either you gonna work with us or we don't need you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're in the
Absolutely.
way.
It should be.
I
Yeah.
have a question too. I'm familiar with, with organizations as such. I know they have one down in Baltimore when I went down there for a book event, and I also know they have one in the Westport called the WWBO.
They are part of this Westward
Yeah,
Victims
okay,
Outreach.
so I was gonna ask you guys, do you guys focus on a specific ward, or is this the whole north? Because I know they focus predominantly
In the
on the West
Westward.
Ward,
So
and they okay.
yeah.
You can answer. You know what I'm going.
yes, sir. We have a queen in this city. She is a gem. Her name is Keisha Urian. She's over the Shani Baraka Center, right? They do phenomenal work there. She's just secured for us the same model WVBO for every single ward. The Brick City Peace Collective is, we have a catchment area because we need to capture the data. We need to see if what we're doing is effective, right? So we have the area from Osborne Terrace down to Milford, from Avon Avenue over to Hawthorne. So that's our catchment area. That's what I'm specifically diving in on until it's for the next 6 months. So our pilot is until the end of October. And then I have to report all of this stuff to the people that need to be reported so we can get this money, right? The thing is, we have a high school in that area and we have 3 elementary schools in that area and 2 charter schools in that area. We have a plethora of churches in that area, right? What are we doing to bring all of these things together? We have businesses in this area.
Definitely. Business.
All of this.
For me, or my opinion, that's the biggest problem in our city. Like, there's no type of unity whatsoever. Like between the African American people, it's like the people from the gas stations or whatever, like, or the 7-Eleven, like even the bodegas, you will see Poppy at this store one day, then you will see him at the other store all the way across town another day. But our people, we don't do nothing together.
And another question too, beyond just the whole aspect of like, for the ward or for just the whole North itself. I know I went to a rally that was created and carried out by Keisha and Ali. Ali Workforce. Yeah, the one this summer, and the Kings Killing Kings event. And one of the things I heard the mayor say within himself was that he was getting tired of the whole rally aspect himself because he felt like the turnout wasn't always what he would expect from a community as as prevalent as Newark, as powerful as Newark, having so much history as Newark. So I know you mentioned like rallies as one of those things, but how does a rally work for one? And if it does work, how do we increase the numbers? How do we get more community support? Because I would like to say it was like a few hundred people there, and we know the community in Newark goes through 4 different wards.
So I do think that rallying is a strategy. It's not the end all to be all. It's not the end of the fight, right? Rallying and marching work for a specific task, and that's getting the information out. So with the Newark Anti-Violence Coalition and the Kings Stop Killing Kings piece, if we look at the attention that it received national attention, right? Like, so it gave us a platform to get the information out. So let's say something smaller, because Newark Anti-Violence Coalition was doing rallies for about 10 years. Somebody got killed that Wednesday, we were there, blocking off traffic and letting the community know this is what's going on. So now we have a different lens. Not only are we telling you that this is not okay, but here go the resources. Here's what we have to offer you to help you. If you don't have a job, here go 1, 2, 3, 4 things to do. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 people for you to speak to get this done. So it's more of a targeted effort for a rally, right? It's just a strategy in an end all to be all. Because when you break down traffic and you're causing an interruption to somebody's day, what's going on now? You get that, why y'all doing this? Oh, then you send somebody diplomatic like me to the car, like, if you really want to know, this is what we're dealing with. This is why we're here. How can you help us? Right? And it's getting that information out, reassuring that everybody has a role to play. I don't care what it is. We doing community cleanups in our 21 day of this Brick City Peace Collective rollout, the community meetings that's happening. We doing movies under the stars, yoga. We have to bring back the life that was sucked out of our community. And it was sucked out by crack. It was sucked out by like just our train of thought. We're in a sense of hopelessness. So we're trying to re-empower each other with wellness. And we know that this ain't an easy task, but if we ain't gonna do it, who gonna do it? Who we waiting for?
Nobody's gonna help us but us. 100% right.
And I want to add one more. I know it's still in the shop, but to the other guests, I know you talked about having a media's company, and the thing about media being that it's communication based. How much courage did it take to do that? And like, what is your vision with your company? Like, where do you see yourself navigating with your media company? Being that it's an industry that's it's very difficult to navigate through.
Oh, I know it.
Please dive into your health and wellness aspect.
Yeah, as far as the courageous, just being a Black woman every day, just living my daily life, not even focus on doing media, just trying to live my life every day, trying to get my self-care, as we discussed earlier. I just cut off my hair recently, so I'm trying to get my hair together. As women, trying to get my skin. It's just a lot that we have as women that we're always trying to deal with. And as far as the health and wellness, I want our community to do right. I think when we were talking about earlier, helping each other and things, we have to learn how to help ourselves, and I think that's a big influence in the community. If you're able to wake up and drink a warm glass of water, for example, you're already making steps to better yourself. Sometimes people think you got to wake up and be a vegan. You know what I'm saying? Like, all your chicken and your meat. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm like, I can't give up my chicken and my fish and stuff. So I think just taking these little baby steps, and like I said, I think we're starting to do that now. A lot of my friends now, they're starting to look at themselves like, you know what? Let me take care of myself. I have, a husband, I have kids now. I want to be here longer for them. I don't want to die at 30, 40 years old. I want to, live and actually see the world. Also traveling, I think that's part of health and wellness now. I see a lot more people realizing that we can't see the world. Sometimes we have to see more things to realize that we can be better people. If you just stick with, the same, street or same people, you're not going to grow. You got to have the right people around you. As you guys, you all supporting each other. We're all, supporting each other now. We're all teaching each other. Again, that's all part, I think, of health and wellness. And I have an illness myself, and that kind of pushed me into wanting to help women's health. Endometriosis, I don't know if you guys are, aware, if you know about it, Dawn, as well. And so I'm a big advocate for that. I have a lot of men that come to me, and they want to talk to me about it because they're like, I have daughters at home, I have a wife at home. Teach me so I know what symptoms and things to look out for. And again, like I said, health and wellness, that's something that I kind of, like you said, with God, kind of pushed me into. I didn't ask for, to be dealing with, different issues, but sometimes you're given things because God knows you can handle it. And you're meant to, help the next person out. It's not always about, you.
So like when you, just a message to everybody, if you got a calling, don't fight that call. You have to pursue that thing because you're called there for a reason and you're going to have a significant impact on somebody's life, whatever it is. But I know my man QG was over here pondering on some thoughts and I want to get them. So what do you think about, brother?
Yeah, I was just thinking, all these things that you ladies are into, takes a lot to do. What or who keeps you focused on the path that you're trying to walk?
I know for me right now, my mom, today actually, I know Collis saw my Facebook post. Today is the anniversary of my father's death. So actually, in a way, thinking about him, the fact I'm actually older now than my own father was when he passed. So to me, I'm like, damn, God got me here for some reason. Why am I still here? What's my purpose? And so I think about him, the fact that he's not here, and I'm like, okay, I have to find some type of way to make him proud. I still believe his spirit is still here, watching me, guiding me. So I use that, and I also look, like I said, my mom. I look at the living, the people who has been here, for me. My friends, sometimes they're going through a lot of struggles, and we all going through it. Like this coronavirus, everybody's worried about their money, where they get their income, where they're going to get, their food and water, basic stuff. And I'm like, what can I do to help, influence them? So a lot of things I do is not even for myself. I'm sitting here thinking, how can I help my mom out? How to get her out of, her situation and help influence my friends and community around me. So I hope I answer that. Right.
Death is a reminder for me, right? So like when somebody around me dies, whatever their influence was in my world, I try to, like, whatever advice they gave, I try to take on it and like embody it, right? Because once they're gone, that's what they left me, was their words of encouragement, was their word of direction. So that's my great grandmother on down, right? Then I look at other incredible Black women who have done this type of work, like the mayor's mother, Amina Baraka, super dope. Like she raised some amazing Black men in that struggle, right? Like her struggle was different than ours, but it was still a real struggle. Then I have a really amazing village. My mother, my sister-in-law, like I have an abundance of Black women just always encouraging me. And if I can't get something out of somebody, like something concrete, something to help push me, help me to think, help me to move forward, help me to stay focused, it's like you're in the way. Because I have a purpose that God gave me. Like you can't be in my way to do what I'm supposed to do, because nobody's gonna be there to judge my soul at the end of my life except for me. Right? And I need my scales to balance out. I need for God to be pleased with everything that I've done. So that's where my motivation comes from. And then I got a dope ass husband.
Yes.
He really gives me like that conversation we had is that balance, right? Like I don't have to be a superwoman. I ain't cleaning up. We gonna find 2 aunties and $30 and we're gonna keep it pushing.
That's super facts, man. I wish we can go back to the world where that was that Monica, and I'm talking about this again. So it's how it takes a village to raise a child, but it also just takes a village to raise a single person. And like just here in the Grumman Collective, if I didn't have my 5 brothers here doing this with me, we wouldn't be doing this. I'd be sitting right now doing some bum ass shit, just sitting there watching TV, watching cartoons, doing nothing. But instead, we're doing something constructive that's going to impact our community. And I appreciate these brothers for being here, and I appreciate you ladies for stopping and for doing that. And ladies, y'all are definitely the epitome of what Women's History Month stands for. You women came here strong, you are factual, you are smart, you are doing things in your community, and we are blessed to have your presence today. This was an incredible show. I really hope that we collab more. You said you look for mentors. We are a group of strong-minded, motivated individuals, so please reach out to us if there's anything we can do for you guys. Let us know. And if we want you guys on other episodes, trust and believe we want to reach out to you because your insight which is very insightful.
It's what we needed. It's what we needed.
I think a lot of women, a lot of people in general are going to take away from this episode a lot of positivity, and they're going to try to make a change in their life, whether it's just starting their own podcast or trying to get into pursuing their own dreams. I think you guys really sparked the mindset of a lot of people who's going to listen to this episode. Once again, we want to say thank you, ladies, for showing out. So take a moment to please shout yourself out, shout out your social media, your name, let the people know who you are once again so they can follow you after this.
Okay, so I made the Instagram page for my 7-year-old. So it's Sky Beverly. That's my Instagram, and I'm on Facebook as Dawn Haynes. Please inbox me and let me know you're doing a friend request because I have people waiting for like 5 years, so now I know who's something. But yeah, that's me. Big shout out to all 3 of my daughters. University High School.
Hey. Yeah, my name is Qadriyyah Marie. My Instagram, Twitter, on the Q Productions. I'm actually looking for interviewees for my documentary I have called Fatherless Daughters. So if you'd like to be a part of that, you can email me as well, Qadriyyah at ontheqproductions.net.
Spell it out, please.
Yes. So it's Qadriyyah. Let me get that part out. So it's QADRIYYAH. I know it's
One
kind of
more
long.
time.
My mom did this.
One more time.
QADRIYY88. And then on the Q productions.net.
Oh, that was great. Again, thank you guys. So this is Des973 of the Grammar Collective. So make sure you hit up my Instagram. We're gonna go around, let you know our social media. So you make sure you follow everybody, all our personal endeavors, and make sure again that you hit up our Patreon and subscribe to all of our platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Podbean. Make sure you follow us because we have a lot of great content coming up as you hear it today. And go ahead, Von. Let them know what's up, what you got on the plate.
You can follow me at Von973, and my clothing brand is Victory Over Negativity. You can follow that on Instagram. QG was good, bro.
Kwani Hot One on Instagram, Kwani Hot One on Facebook. That Love and Hatred brand coming soon, so y'all look out.
Right, summer's everything.
Yeah, man.
A Nardi with the cam.
You know it.
Nardi fashion. Facebook, my piece. That's it. The milkman.
This Big Nap Visuals on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that bell. And on Instagram, J. Bradford Photos to get the best pictures of Jersey City, waterfront. Feel me? Thank you.
No lies. Go check it out.
It's Mr. Marrow, the Council Magazine, www.thecouncilmagazine.com, and on Instagram at the Council Magazine. And real estate.
Buying houses up.
Yeah.
Don't sell grandma house, black man.
I'm out there for 20 years.
Lastly is High City Trek. Y'all know what it is. Shout out to my kids too, helping me make them funny videos. I'll be posting on the website. And basically we got another book dropping soon. As I spoke to two yesterday, Mrs. Dawn and Qadriyyah. But the book is called "Do You Feel Numb Yet?" It focuses on drug addiction and the impact, of drugs within our society. And also a few other communities. So be on the lookout for that. Circle of Pain still is in the bio. So get yours, as I'm usually saying. And we have merch dropping soon. I got a website soon to be released.
Yeah,
So I just got that started. So be on the lookout for merch and everything. And that's it for me, man. Y'all have a good one.
So this was a great episode. Of course, because of the coronavirus, a lot of productions have halted. That includes American Ninja Warrior. So I don't know if I'm still going to be competing in the first week of April, but I'm still on the ballot. It's still going to happen. I'm still training hard. So again, if you want to watch those workout videos and get in shape, man, make sure y'all get at me, Des973. We're going to keep it going, keep it positive. We're going to act like this virus ain't even here. We're going to live our lives, live our best lives.
Corona!
So, as we always say, this is the Grammar Collective, and we out.
We out.